Hello and welcome to another video from Simply MK. My name is Mladen and today we're gonna talk about a very specific topic. It's gonna be a topic about love and if it really exists. Now this video that we're gonna be reacting to is called Theist Calls Us Angry Because We Do Not Believe Love Exists with Promise Backlund and Paul Logia. Now the interesting thing about this whole video is that we're gonna talk about existence of love and if it is real. For me, this question is undeniably very easy to answer, and I'm gonna say that love really exists and it's something that's present in every single one of us and we experience it in many ways. Why do they say that it doesn't exist, or why do they not believe that it exists? Let's see in this video.
Hey Ben, you
Hello?
are live with Promise and Paul. What do you want to talk with us about
Hi.
today?
Hi, thanks for having me. I wanted to take a little bit of a different approach, see if you can follow it just for a minute. I wanted to ask you, I'm a theist, you're atheist, I understand that. What, as human beings, do you find to be the most important thing of being a human, aspect of being a human?
I couldn't begin
What's
to
the
pick
most important?
just one.
Yeah, this is an interesting question, and it has so many answers that you can give. It's got, you can be personal about it, you can be general about it, you can be so many things about it. Essentially, if I were to answer this question, I would say that what makes us, as human beings, what's the most important aspect of us being a human is love. The very thing that atheists claim does not exist or they do not believe in. And then besides love, I think it's about caring about each other and being there for each other. The empathy that we have for each other, that's what matters the most. Our love and relationship with other people, because without it we are just, lumps of meat created for no purpose, for no reason. And if that's the case, we can get into the things like, why does it even matter that we act certain way? Why does it even matter that we survive and sustain ourselves and whatnot? But without moving off topic too much, let's get back right into the video and see what they're gonna say about the biggest or the most important aspect of what human being is.
Could you just give me any stab at it? What is the most important aspect?
But you understand that any answer that I am going to give is going to be absolutely personal and not anything I'm projecting as should be the case for anyone else. So, for example, the most important thing in my life are my kids.
Okay, perfect. So you would put that under the category of relationships, and I would think many people would agree.
But hold on, Ben. I actually would say, so there have been times, because they are theists and I'm not, that the relationship wasn't great, and I actually prioritized what I was visioning as their future over forcing a relationship, or like I actually put my relationship to them secondary to what I thought their best interests were. So
it's your kids' well-being.
My kids'
more than your
well-being is more
relationship with
important
them.
to me than my relationship to them.
Okay, but
if the best thing for them is that they never see me again, I would never see them again.
Right. Okay, but that would be your relationship with them, right? Because you would say,
you seem to be wanting to provoke things, but okay, if empathy is a relationship, if that's what you want to say, but I'm worried we're getting into some definitional thing.
Sure.
If you're just wanting to make a point about relationships, I'd rather you get to that point, because if you ask me what's the most important thing in my life, I'm gonna say staying healthy enough to stay alive and experience my life. That's gonna come number one, because otherwise, what's the point of I can't experience anything.
Okay, interesting point, I guess. Relationship with his kids, or basically thinking about his kids and well-being of his kids. That's one of the aspects that makes sense, and it is very important. What bugs me about the whole idea is that if you do not believe in love, why do you care about well-being of your kids? Why do you care about them being, good, better than have a better life than you and whatnot? If you care, then that means that you actually do believe in love and actually experience love yourself, right? but they didn't define this yet, so I'm not sure what they're gonna talk about when it comes to believing if love exists or not. I'm just talking from what I can see so far. And when it comes to promise and what she says, she believes in being healthy is the most important aspect of being a human being and experiencing life. Why is that important? Why is it important that you be healthy and experience life? Why is it not a question that you ask yourself something like, why not commit suicide and be done with it? Because life is meaningless and it has no purpose. So why would you want to continue on living and experiencing it? What sense does it make, right? Do you get what I'm trying to ask here? Anyways, let's get back right to the video.
So you're going to get different answers from different people. So if this is some kind of question to get us to a certain spot, I'd rather you just go ahead and take us to that spot, and then we can figure it out from there.
Okay, so I would say for a lot of people, relationships are the most important thing in their life. Whether the relationships are good or bad, it is. We are social animals, let's say, and relationships are generally the most satisfying thing for us. And the opposite of, I think most people would also say, what you really don't like is being treated like an object, like in sexual relationships. If someone treats someone else like
some people like that. Some people actually really like that. So I'm still not sure where we're going with this.
Okay, so yeah, you could say maybe there are exceptions to this, but like largely speaking, that is true.
I don't know because I don't know. I'd have to see data on that to see how most people like to be treated during sex. I don't know.
No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. We all know that. Like,
I would need to. I'm sorry, I would need to, Ben. And I'd rather you get to your point that you want to make instead of having us come along with you on these presuppositions about social things that I don't know if I agree with you with. I'd rather hear your point. That's an honest conversation.
Okay. So if love is important, at least to many, many people, let's say love, caring about another person, we can use the word love. All right. And one definition of God is that God is love. Then for at least all of those people for whom relationships and the word love could be used by them, they are theists.
No, you're just saying that you're just you're defining God into existence by saying that he's definitionally the same as love. Like, that's weird.
Because now I could say hunger is God, and everybody that ever feels hunger is now a theist because they've experienced hunger, which is what I'm gonna now say is the definition of God.
Okay, now we're gonna get into something weird here, but first let's talk about what love truly is. If you think about love, what is the definition of love? I do not have the exact answer. Google doesn't have it, ChatGPT doesn't have it. Everybody's just speculating what love is. And the definition can be separated into multiple layers and it can be separated into many answers. So it is up to a subjective opinion of what love is that defines what it is. In my opinion, the ultimate form of love is sacrifice for one another. Basically, you giving up something of your own to give to somebody else, to be a giver. That's basically what it means to be caring and loving and whatnot. Now, I'm gonna take it a step further, I guess, and I'm gonna say that love is a two-way street. So basically, if you give love and you receive it, it becomes this symbiosis, or I don't know the right word, where it is a relationship where you care about each other. Basically, you care about one another and you understand that love is a sacrifice because this life is pretty tough, and without sacrificing for each other, without sacrificing some of your needs for somebody else, especially in a marriage or relationship like boyfriend and girlfriend situation, you basically have to have a certain degree of sacrifice for one another for it to work out, for it to be real. And if you are willing to enter into such a relationship, that is what love is. That is what I see as love. Then you have things like you have kids, as Paul said, and he cares about his kids a lot. Love is about caring about another being, and in this case, we're talking about your kids, and you care about their well being and how they're gonna progress in life and how they're gonna have life experienced and progressed. Basically, love can be so many things that we cannot define it as a single matter or single thing. But what is the true essence of love? For all of us theists, basically people who believe in God, we believe that the source of love is God, because God is love. God is the form of love that is undeniably the purest form of love there is. But not everybody is gonna agree on this, especially atheists who do not believe that God exists. So the point is, it doesn't really matter what we believe or what we define love as, because atheists at the end of the day are gonna say that they do not believe in it. They do not believe that love is real because it is just human emotion, chemicals in our brains, things like that, which in a sense makes sense because to a certain degree we do feel love as chemicals in our brain. We do feel love as some kind of process, natural process, which I cannot begin to describe. But what I do know is that love isn't just this process that you have to keep holding on to. You can fall in love with somebody, but you can also fall out of love. You can decide to care about somebody, but you can also decide not to care about somebody. So love is also a decision, and it is your free will whether you want to give love or not. But that's my 2 cents. Let's see what they're going to say.
Well, in other words, if it says in the New Testament, God is love. It doesn't say God is hunger.
Why should I care?
So I'm saying, like,
why should I care what the New Testament says?
Okay, why should I care what the New Testament says? Essentially, this is gonna be something that puts a lot of people off, and it's okay. New Testament is something that we should care about if it is real, because New Testament is about history of this world, and we know it's not just some fairy tale that somebody talked about a little bit. It is testimony of living people who lived during the time of Jesus Christ, and we should care about it because it is historically the most precise book ever written, historically the most how do I say this, accurate representation of the time when Jesus Christ lived and walked on this earth. Now, not everybody's gonna agree with me, not everybody's gonna say, oh, you're right, it makes sense, but the fact of the matter is, if it is true, it is the most important piece of history ever recorded. And if it is not true, then at least we have to agree that it contains the most profound insights, whether it comes to what it means to live, what life is all about, what loving is and what love is, and how we should act as human beings. It has so many profound insights that everybody should be enlightened by them, realize that what it says, it makes a lot of sense. If you do not agree with me, please do say in the comments below what do you disagree with, and I can make a video about it. I can tell you exactly what I'm thinking about when I'm talking about these points. But I'm going very short into the points, because if I talked about everything that I want to talk about, this video would never end. There's so much to say. So without further ado, let's get back right into the video.
I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying
written on
love
this,
is God.
so I've written on this piece of paper that hunger is God. So why should I care what this piece of paper says versus what the Bible says? You know, why does that matter?
Okay, I already described the difference, and I just want to say that this is such a stupid argument. I wrote on a piece of paper this, and that this matters. It's not the same. what's written on the piece of paper for the New Testament is the history of the world. What you have written on the piece of paper right now is just your own thoughts and ideas, which we can take into account if we're gonna talk about something else. But this is just gibberish, nonsense argument.
Gets to decide.
No, that's fine. I'm just illustrating something. You don't have to be so defensive. But if God is love, which, in other words, love is not a thing, so it can't be like hunger, where it has like a relationship to things, then I just don't see what. I understand there's a big gap between saying,
okay,
I
let's
believe
call
in
God
love,
anger.
I believe in God,
anger
and I
is
believe
God. Anger towards other humans is God. So now that's God. And if you've experienced anger toward another person, then you are a theist.
No, because God is love. That's
okay. There's your claim. Cool. So
God.
Your claim is that God is love. What is your proof or your evidence that God is love and God isn't anger?
Because we experience love and we experience our nature as being an image of God, and to be treated as a thing
I experience anger as well. I experience anger as well. Why is that not God? Why is love God?
I'm not talking about the emotion of love. I'm not talking about the emotion of love. I'm saying to care about someone else without self-interest is, I think, what most people would say is the definition of love. And that love, if I say that love is God, then you would be a theist, right?
No, because I don't believe that love exists. I don't believe. No, I don't. I don't believe love exists at all. Love is an English word that we use. No, I don't. I don't believe that love exists. I think love is a word that we use in English, and in other languages they have way cooler words and more descriptive ones to define different types of love. But love is a word that we use to communicate. Sometimes it's a feeling towards somebody else. Sometimes it's an act towards somebody else. There's all sorts of things. Paul, what do you think love is?
There is a book from an atheist, I do not remember the name right now, but he wrote something that's very interesting to me. It says something along the lines of, Mother died. It was yesterday, or was it today? What does it matter? Now this is exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to atheists claiming that there is no such thing as love. If there is no such thing as love, why do you care about your kids? Why do you care about your parents? Why do you care about your siblings or your loved ones in general? Why do you care about anything if love doesn't exist, if it is not real? Love might not necessarily be just a feeling that we have, just an emotion that we experience, but love might also be something greater than that we do not understand yet. Why are you so against the idea that love can be something? I really wanna see if they're gonna say something interesting now, or if they're just gonna talk about nonsense and be very evasive about the definition of what love is. Let's see.
Think it exists as an
entity? You don't
entity?
think love exists?
No. Love is...
No, and I just explained why I don't.
Yeah, we don't think love as an entity exists. Love is a description of actions and or feelings, and they're all defined, they all are wrapped up as just versions of empathy, which in our previous callers we've literally talked about how all social species definitionally have empathy to some degree or another. And I see no non-naturalistic reason I don't see even need the reason that we need to appeal to anything other than natural biological processes to understand that empathy helps us as a social species. So I don't see the reason why you're labeling this God on top of it. I don't see the distinctions that you're making. And I definitely don't think that love is an entity.
You don't believe that love exists. You don't believe that you love your children. You believe biological.
Richard, what did I say? What did I say that love is? Just to see if you're listening and caring at all what I said.
Ben.
Sorry, Ben. I'm so sorry, Ben.
No problem.
What were you listening to? What I was saying at all?
What I'm saying is we all know what the word love means.
What's interesting to me is that Americans have this idea that messing with the words and the ideas of what the meaning behind the word is makes them smart or something like that. Just stop playing with the words and start accepting them for what they are. Love is exactly what we described it as so many times. It can be love can be so many things, as I already said, but we understand deep down that love is something. Love is something real, something that we experience, something that is basically there's no way to deny it. You have experienced it one way or another. You can choose to not believe in it because, I don't know, you have been hurt or something, but other than that, you should not deny that love is real, because love is real. It is the most realest thing that we can experience in our lives. I do not see what's the point of adding all this nonsense about what did he say? Empathy, right? Empathy is a form of love and whatnot. Everything that we talk about is becoming senseless if we start to deny basic understanding of what the words really mean. So let's stop doing that, please, America. Let's get back on our feet and learn from the dictionary, if needed, what the words that we are talking about are.
You're
And
appealing to
I'm saying
intuition. You're appealing to intuition. What did both
sure.
Promise and I laid out what we think love is? Were you listening? And can you repeat back to us what we said what we think love is?
You said that you don't think love exists. You think it's a biological thing, sort of a
We think
biological
that
process.
It can be. I think it's a word that we use to describe certain things. Some can be biological elements, some are just us using that word. I don't think love exists as its own thing. It's not like some thing out here existing. It's a word that we use, just like I use the word joy to describe something that whatever I decide that word is defining for me, or it.
Seriously, you're gonna say that you're gonna define joy for yourself and it's not gonna be the same for everybody else? This is what I'm talking about. This is just nonsense. For no reason we are attaching different meanings to the same words that we use. And I don't know, today I'm gonna say traffic light represents something in the street where cars are gonna know if it's red you go and if it's green you don't go, right? No, it doesn't make sense. You're gonna say traffic light represents this construct that's built by human hand where red means don't go and green means go, and there is a reason why we built it that way and came to understand it that way. It's not like the universe said this is how things work, it is how we defined it. And for the same reason, we should define joy as joy, feeling of happiness, and not in a different way because you decided for yourself that you're gonna define words and give them different meaning for yourself. This is just utter nonsense from my perspective. So stop doing that, please.
Or expressing for me. I don't think joy is this thing out here that exists in reality. It's a word we use to define and describe certain things we experience or express as humans.
Right. It's a property of an action.
Truth exists? In other words, aren't you trying to say that what we're saying is true?
Truth is the extent to which a proposition conforms to reality as adjudicated by predictive power. Truth is a property of a proposition.
So do you have a problem with using the word truth to say, like, this is true? Or,
yes, because truth is a property of something. Because truth is a property of something else, not an entity floating around. Just like yellow is a property of an object, potentially. And not, there's yellowness floating around.
Doesn't exist.
Right.
Yellow doesn't exist.
Yellow is a property of an object. Right?
Yellow doesn't exist. Love doesn't exist. We are just defining everything so oddly. This is so weird. This is so weird. Look, I have a yellow chair right here. Actually, this is the sofa. it's kind of beige, but it can work, right? So yellow doesn't exist. It's just the way that we describe the object, but as a color it doesn't exist. This is some stupid idiocy that I just cannot bear to comprehend, because it goes either way above my head or way below it. You define it, or you say to me in the comments below, what do you think? Is it something that I don't even know how to ask this question. Does yellow exist as a color? Do you believe in colors? Like, are we getting so damn lost that we cannot even define the simplest of things? I have learned about colors when I was in primary school, and for some reason that stayed with me. I believe that colors are real. Color as a thing exists. Sun is yellow. Grass is green. The color exists. Despite if the object of whatever it is that it is describing, or the property it is describing, regardless of it, it exists. We just see it from our eyes. We are able to see colors. We are able to see light. Okay, let's just get back right to the video.
I think most people think love and truth exist.
That doesn't. We're not here to talk about what.
Physical.
We're not here to
Who
talk about
cares
what
what
other
most
people.
people believe?
Yeah.
Well, if you
Because
don't love other people, you treat them like things. And
who said we don't love other people? We said love is a property that love is a label we apply to certain behaviors, actions, and feelings.
Okay. I would just say that if you believe in love and truth and you believe in God, and I would say, like, someone who wants to say, I don't believe in those things, or I want to redefine them in some kind of way.
How is redefining love? How is redefining? How is love being a label for an action, motivation, feeling? Redefining it.
It's more than I mean, I understand you could express the word love as a feeling. I'm talking about what someone
not
would
as
do,
a
like,
feeling, not as a feeling, Ben. It's not as a feeling. It is a property of a feeling. We have many feelings. Some of them we consider to be loving. That's why we have to put label on some of those feelings, as that feeling felt like love to me, or that feeling felt like something else. That doesn't mean we're trying to express to you that doesn't elevate love to be an entity that exists. And you're appealing to people's intuition. I was one of the people just a few years ago who gave this no serious thought at all and just went around with my intuition thinking, sure, love's a thing, evil's a thing, good's a thing, because I spent no time thinking about it seriously. Then I had a bit of a crisis, and I had to think about these things seriously and look at my own motivations and how things work. And it's like, no, you know what? My intuition that evil was a thing was me being sloppy with language.
But when you were talking about your children, I'm not trying to make it personal, but you almost seem to say, like, I'm going against my feelings that I want to spend time with my children because I want what is good for them, which is the definition of love in a non-emotional sense. So doing that, I think you're affirming the existence of something which is spiritual.
I was affirming that I label those priorities as loving priorities, but they are priorities that you are describing in a certain way. That doesn't make love exist.
But you were going against your actual, like, biological feelings of wanting to spend time with your children.
We agree.
And saying, if I never had to see them again. What is that? Ben, it's not a feeling.
That's not something that exists. It's something that's happening. It's a priority. It's something that Paul has decided, and it's decisions that he makes based off of feelings and emotions and whatever thought process he has based off of the standards that he set in his life. So that is not something that exists. That goes if Paul dies, that goes away. If Paul dies, that is gone, because there's no one there to make that decision and do that.
It doesn't actually go against biology, because if I look at it purely biologically, I am no longer producing more children, so biologically my priority is naturally them, right? Because I'm not the only way my genes can propagate at this point. I was snipped, so I had to get so the only way I can get my genes to propagate now is through them. So actually, from a purely biological perspective, it does make sense as a priority.
Well, I just think we don't have to get into a big thing. I'm just saying, if you don't believe in love and truth, I actually agree you don't believe in God.
But,
like,
okay,
I could have told you that
the word
we're
love
atheists.
and truth have no meaning for you,
we could have told you from the very beginning that we don't believe in a God. We don't believe a God exists, and I don't believe love exists. Do I experience love all the time? Does it?
I don't believe in God, I don't believe in love, but I experience it all the time. What is it that you experience if love isn't real? This is just a mix of different phrasing of words and how they're gonna define it and say it and think it and feel it and whatnot. So I think it is all bullcrap. We're just going in circles without coming to any logical conclusion of what it really is. But let's see what they're gonna say more.
Look different towards different people? Yes. Do I use that word to describe varying emotions? Absolutely. But that doesn't mean love exists. I'm going to be totally honest. I'm not sure that you're equipped for this sort of conversation. I understand what you're trying to express, but I think you should go back and listen to this call fully, because I'm not sure you're understanding the concept of something existing as an entity or having existence in and of itself, or it being used as something that we describe and define things with. There is a difference between a word that we use to express ourselves with and something actually existing.
You're saying the only thing that can exist is the thing, and therefore you just really can't have a conversation beyond that.
That's not what I'm saying either. And we've had plenty of conversation here. It's not about not having a conversation. I do think you should go back and listen to this and go check out what people were saying in the chat. I'm sure there'll be comments. Maybe some of them will be more helpful than Paul and I were able to be, to try to point you in the direction of logic, to show you where we're unable to be convinced by what you're saying to us. It's not making sense, because you're right. We don't believe love exists as its own thing. We don't believe that love exists outside of what we as humans cool. But we don't believe that it exists outside of us using it as to express something that is happening, that we can point to, that's real.
I agree. You don't believe in love.
Agree.
And you don't believe in truth. And so I don't think you believe in God.
I do believe that things can be true or not true. So again, I don't know that you're following the logic of this conversation. I'm good, unless Paul wants to continue. I don't really have.
I don't think that she knows what she's talking about either. She's talking about logic that's illogical and doesn't make any sense. If we try to go to school with kids today and we try to teach them about love, what are we gonna do? We're gonna mess them up so much, because it is so undefined. This whole video is just a mess of different ways or types of things that we can describe that is just becoming so illogical. I'm getting so messed up in my head just over the fact that they are trying to describe some things that are so simple and they are making it so complicated. Love is about caring about one another. Love is about giving. Love is about receiving. Love is about so many things that we can naturally feel for ourselves. For so many reasons, love is real. Now, I know it is very hard for an atheist to attach love to a real living God, since they do not believe in God. But for us theists, it is very easy to attach love to a real thing, because love is real, because God is real. But this is a whole other topic, and we're gonna get really off topic if I start going off exactly what I'm talking about. But if you want to know more about it, if you want to hear my thoughts and my viewpoint, I'm gonna definitely make a video about it if you leave in the comments below. If you want me to make a video about it, just comment down below that you want me to expand and extrapolate exactly what I'm talking about. Otherwise, I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Have anything else to add to this?
Ben,
Why are you so angry? Why are
I'm
you
not
so
angry at all. I'm having a great conversation. But again,
No,
I
you're
don't
not.
think that you're following. And you continue to interrupt me, and you didn't interrupt Paul, which I do find interesting. I'm going to be done talking to you now, and I'm going to let Paul talk to you because maybe you'll be able to
So
take him more
angry.
seriously.
well,
Relax.
yeah. So we don't need to discuss anymore. Basically, you are resorting to incredulous laughter, which from this side of the call seems incredibly ironic
problem.
because if anyone here deserves to incredulously laugh, it would be the people on screen. I will leave it at that.
I think you're angry
Ben,
at
I'm
God.
I'm sorry
I think
about
you're
getting your
angry at
name wrong there for a minute. There's no
Hey,
anger.
Ben, maybe
Yeah,
we're
both,
so
no problem.
angry. You still didn't provide
You're just
anything
lying.
for us.
You're just lying. You're angry. All right, take care. Don't be angry. Try love.
If that was love, I am not interested. That was I was trying to communicate that to him. I genuinely don't think he's understanding the logic of the conversation and where it was going. The color thing was a great thing to point out. Like yellow doesn't exist, but we use it to define things.
Yeah, I think your observation was astute. Well, actually, there was a few astute observations. One, I don't think he was completely equipped to handle that call. The other was that I also noticed the interruption pattern that you noticed.
Alright, so they noticed that he interrupted Promise, and let's just not get into that. What I'm actually interested is, since this was a live call, they had live comments and we cannot see them, but we can see comments of this video, and I'm very interested to see what the opinion is of the general audience that are watching this video. So without further ado, let's scroll down and see what they're gonna say. Alright, Ben is not a good listener, he is in love with his own understanding. Okay, I guess you can... Yeah, they are basically agreeing with the atheists. Let's not even talk about this one. Bro really came to a battle of wits unarmed. Wow, this caller was so desperate to walk the host into a gacha. Yes, God is so full of love, he made rules for slavery. What's love got to do with it? What's love but a second-hand emotion? The phrase "love doesn't exist" tripped him up and he couldn't get past it even after a full explanation. Okay. The phrase "love doesn't exist" tripped him up so much that he couldn't get past it even after a full explanation. The full explanation that they provide is just stupidity. It is utter nonsense because they do not believe in concepts that are real. You cannot tell me that love is not real based on what they just talked about. If I was a caller of this show and I talked to them about this idea here, I would ask them some questions about why do they care about the definition of love if they do not believe that love exists. If love is not real, if it's something made up, then there's no point in trying to explain it or give it a label or whatnot. Basically, it is nonsense. So, in other words, let's just leave it at that. I just wanna get past that. Let's see what other comments are gonna say. Alright, this is an interesting one. Yet another believer who can't stand the idea that non-believers can have an equally productive, loving and satisfying, even better life than their own. So sad. And, well, God is love, but if you don't love him back, he will burn you forever. That's not love, that's blackmail. Now, before I get into this comment, I just want to say that this is yet another commenter who is agreeing with this atheistic point of view, which to an extent I understand, but I do not want to create this channel to be theists versus atheists and whatnot. I want us to be productive and collaboratively create something great. So instead of being these two camps opposing each other. Let's be together. Let's collaborate to make our lives great, productive for each other and for the goodness and sake of all living beings. So no, let's not say things like yet another believer who can't stand the idea that non-believers can have an equally productive, loving and satisfying or even better lives than their own. Basically what this comment is telling me is that this person doesn't understand God and doesn't really comprehend what's talked about in the Bible, and it is sad. It is sad to see this, and I'm just gonna go back to the video because these comments are obviously people who are, how do you say it? These people are obviously leaning towards atheism and are not giving their objective thoughts. They are not thinking objectively and giving their true ideas, and it is just a waste of time to go through this. So instead, let's end this video here with my final thoughts. And essentially what I'm gonna say is that I think that love is real because I believe that God is real, and I think that love can be defined as a lot of different things. We can define it as emotion, as chemical process, or as a real entity because God is the source of love. I know, so many of you are gonna be angry or disagreeing with me, and it is fine. It is totally okay if you do not agree with me. However, instead of just raging or burning with desire to say exactly what you wanna say, give it a moment, think about it, and then give your objective opinion in the comments below. I want to have real discussion about what love really is and what it means. I have so many different video ideas that I want to make about this topic because it's obviously something that people are having struggle with to understand. So I'm gonna say this: I see a real need for education about the basic and simplest of things such as love. Second thing is that colors really exist, and I think that if we did not see these colors, we would not know them, but they would remain as they are regardless of what we think. Sun is always going to be yellow, grass is always going to be green. We just defined these colors the way that we did. They exist in the sense that they are created from a certain source of light and patterns in nature that I cannot describe because I'm not a professional here. I do not understand how things work exactly, and it's not my domain. However, I can say that I have experienced both love and colors and things that truly do exist in our lives. If you do not agree with this, give me your thoughts, tell me exactly what you're not agreeing with, and let's have a real discussion. Alright, let's wrap things up here, because we have talked about so many things and we're just gonna get lost if we keep talking about these things and get into different topics that are gonna that we can expound upon so much that it doesn't make sense for us to go into them right now. Essentially, this video was interesting to see two perspectives of an atheist, two atheist perspectives, as well as the theist perspective on love, color yellow, and the way that they define it differently. At the end of the day, let's just say that theists and atheists do not agree on this point, and it is completely cool. If you do not agree, it is what it is. Let's just move on with our lives. But if you do believe in love, leave a like, give you a thumbs up, and share in the comments below how you define love for yourself. How do you define color yellow? Do you believe in these concepts, or do you think that they are just made up human creation and whatnot? Anyways, that's it for the first video of 2026. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Ciao!